Right. Let's see how this is doing. Hi, I'm live. How's it going, people? Can you hear me? Let's have a look here. I'm just going to share it onto the Discord chat, and then we'll get started with some Q&As. Thank you. Loud and clear. Thank you very much, Daniel. Appreciate it. Listening to me while you're at the gym, that's awesome. I've literally just got back from the gym. Alright, just sharing it. Hello Sam, how's it going, man? So you guys can hear me loud and clear, is that good? Sub-Zero. The main thing on this is I know that the internet's going to be a little jumpy with the video, but again, I just want to make sure that the sound quality is good. I think that's most important right now, just so that I can answer your questions. So do let me know if the sound is nice. It sounds good, appreciate it. Alright, okay, so as long as that's good, then that's all that matters. Let's give it another couple minutes, let some more people join, and then we'll get started with some Q&A if you want. By the way, if anyone's wondering, I know Master Tate asked on the Discord that I'm going to type in my Instagram. And that's how a lot of people talk to me and message me through Instagram. I think that's the best way. If I do look a little shiny, I just got out of the shower. I just got back from the gym, working hard. And if you might hear some noise in the background, my wife's mum and her friend are over in the bedroom doing homework, so it might be a little loud in the background. Alright, let's give it another minute. Don't hesitate to say hi if you are on the stream. Got 10 people watching so far. If you are a big part of these videos, if you're watching all these videos a lot, try and share these live streams, because the more people, the better. If I see more people on here asking questions, the more I'm going to do these live streams. I was going to do it once a week, but I think I'm going to do it once every other week, just so I can like build people's questions up and answer them on here. And I might also go through some questions on my actual YouTube channel that people ask in comments. Alright, might as well start then with zeros. What were some of the most positive things you learned about the Royal Marines? Do you mean positive things that I learned while I was in the Royal Marines, or just about the Royal Marines in general? I think positive things that I learned in the Royal Marines was my way of living. Like, it changed my lifestyle and my just all around me as a person, like my attitude. Obviously, you go a lot off the Commando ethos, so and the Commando spirits. So you're looking at like cheerfulness in the face of adversity, determination, unselfishness, humility. You know, a bunch of them which really are they kind of like held close to the Royal Marines, and we try and aspire to have them qualities at all times. And that's not just when you're in the Marines, that's when you leave the Royal Marines as well. Like me making these videos, I have to be very respectful because the Royal Marines help me out a lot. So I still try and abide by them aspects. So that's really, really important. Best way to train for pre-joining fitness test. About to head to the gym to do some practice. Looking for some tips from Nick Richardson. All right, Nick. So the way I've been doing it for my 1.5 mile run at the moment, interval training is the best bet. So say that you're running at like 14 kilometers an hour for the 10 minutes that you're doing the pre-joining fitness test, and you're just getting over by like 10, 20 like I was at the start. Do interval training, so you'll do a minute and a half of sprinting at like 16 kilometers an hour, so way faster than what you do in your average, and then bring it down for 30 seconds and just kind of jog. With that, it'll kind of boost your speed up a little bit, and by the time you go and do your PGFT again, the 14 kilometers an hour will seem kind of a little bit slow compared to the sprints that you've been doing. So you'll be able to put it up a little bit, and it'll help you both mentally and physically. So doing interval training is a definite must. Hi mate, was your BFT 10? I'm retested mine today after a month of training we both previously had at 10:30. So are you talking about the pre-joining fitness test again? BFT. Oh, you mean BFT is in general BFT? Okay. Yeah, I think when I actually went into the Royal Marines, I got when I did my PRMC, I got something like 856 or something for my BFT. I know that varied when I was actually in the Corps. Like it changed. It'd go down, it'd go up depending on the day. But it always kind of stayed around 9:30, which I think is where you need it at. At the moment, mine is 10. It's 10 minutes exactly. But you do need to boost that by doing interval training. That's a big one. So I'm going to be drinking a lot of water. I just got back from the gym, so yeah, I would highly recommend interval training. If you're doing a BFT, that usually means that you're doing it with a little bit of weight on sometimes, especially in the Marines, or in boots as well. So bear that in mind. And if you're going to be practicing your BFT on the road, do the interval training with that kit on, and try and boost your speed up, because at the end of the day, you can run the mile and a half. You can do that. It's how fast you can do that mile and a half. So do the interval training, do your sprints, and it'll boost your speed up. Is there a minimum? Sam says, is there a minimum amount of time you are required to stay in the Royal Marines? 4 years, yeah. So when you get into training, once you get past week 4, I think it is, you have to sign up until, like, once you're in after week 4, you have to sign up until week 26, and you're not allowed to choose to leave, I'm pretty sure. Obviously, you can get kicked out for injury and all that other stuff, but then when you get to week 26, you sign up for 4 years. Obviously, that means if you don't pass the rest of training, you'll get kicked out, but you can't go and say, I want to leave, you know, you have to do your 4 years. And then after 4 years, you can extend, or you can put your chit in, or do whatever you want to do. Daniel McGee says, I can do the pre-joining fitness test at the time required, but I'm miles off for the PRMC. My bleep test is 10-ish. What's the best way to train for PRMC? So PRMC is a little bit different than just the pre-joining fitness test, because you're concentrating on just running. The PRMC is kind of what I'm training for right now, to show you with this getting fit for the Royal Marines, where I'm doing the press-ups, I'm doing the pull-ups and the sit-ups and all that lot. But there's one thing that I can't really show you how to train for in the videos, and that is your mindset. So what you need to be doing is you need to be putting some weight on your back and going for a jog, or doing some sprints, and kind of pushing yourself past the limits of what you usually would do, because at the end of the day, you're gonna do the determination test and the endurance course and all that lot. So you're gonna be kind of struggling at the end of the day, and you need to understand that struggling is just a part of it, and you need to push through it, you know, and you need to develop the mindset of, I can do this, even though my body's aching, I know that I can do this. And that's what the Royal Marines is all about. That's why you do the 30 miler. It means so that when you go on operations and you're in a really sticky situation, you can turn around to your outposts and be like, look, we've done the 30 miler, we can do this again. That's what they did in the Falklands War, and it'll happen again. Callum B said, did you go on many operations? I went on one tour, and it was Op Cougar, which is a anti-piracy operation. Jack Barrett, are there any difference between 4042, 45 Commando in their role and the people who serve in them? So there is a little bit of a difference, Jake. 45's up in Scotland, so they can get away with a little bit more. There's a bit more leniency. But with that being said, they're also a lot, like, kind of known for the toughness, and, you know, they're in Scotland where it's raining and there's big hills and there's all this stuff. So there's a lot of hardship there. Even though I did go to 40 Commando for a brief period of time, like I'm talking a couple months, I didn't really get a big aspect of what 42 and 40 was like. So I can only really talk about 45. But 45 is a very close-knit group. Like I said in my last video of why I left, I was kind of isolated. I was too young, and I just didn't fit in with that close-knit group. And there was a few individuals who didn't like me for. I won't get into the reasons why. And yeah, and it made me want to isolate myself, and then because I isolated myself, they didn't like it, and it was just this vicious circle. So that's kind of one thing. But if you get into the group of 4 or 5, like I did get into a lot of friends, and I did get into the group, you get some friends for life who I still talk to. So where are we now? 0. Do you regret leaving the Royal Marines? And now you're thinking of going back. I don't regret the Royal Marines, even though I had the best time and the worst time of my life all in one. I don't regret it because it made me the person I am today. Like I said, I work with the Commando ethos and the Commando spirit every single day. When I come up with a challenge in life, I always look at myself and say, okay, have I done something like this before? What's the best way for me to go about this? And I look at myself as in like what I would do if I was still a Royal Marine sometimes, and that's key. I know I don't want to go back in again. I don't think I would do that. I think if we were going to war and I had no choice but to sign up for a military, then I'd obviously go back into the Royal Marines, but that wouldn't happen. And even so, I'm married now, and I wouldn't want to leave the family. Nick Richardson. Oh wait, let me scroll back up here. Jake again. I've heard 4-5 be called fighting 4-5, for example. Yeah, fighting 4-5. Yeah, there's reasons for that. Nick Richardson says, "How did your friends and family react when you told them you wanted to join up?" It was mixed. When I wanted to join up, I was 14, 15. I was chubby. I had eczema all over me, and a lot of people were like, "Yeah, right, he's good in the Marines." A lot of people didn't think I could even run, but I ran every single day, trained every single day until people started to realise, okay, this kid's determined. And the last year of school, I shaved my head. I had teachers tell me, you're not going to make it. You need to concentrate on your GCSEs. You're not going to get into the Royal Marines. And it just fueled me even more. And my brother and my mum and dad supported me all the way. They knew I could do it. And I was 100% determined. And I did it. So there you go. I've been thinking of joining either the... This is Jacob, sorry. I keep forgetting to read out people's names. I do apologise. Jacob Wren says, I've been thinking of joining either the Marines or the Royal Irish Regiment, which would further me. Well, it really depends on what you want to do. For me, I think the Royal Marines creates a better environment for people to thrive than the Army does. Not necessarily beating down on the Army, because my best friend went in the Army and it was a great place for a lot of people. I just think post... military, the Marines seem to like to take care of their former Royal Marines, whereas there's so many people in the Army. When you leave, it's easy for them to forget people here and there, but you know, I can still contact people from my old unit and who are still there and still talk to them, so, and they'll still remember me. So that's kind of like a thing that I would say is important, because it's not what you know, it's who you know sometimes, so bear that in mind. Jake, how long should you do intervals for? So I would do like 8 to 10 sets, 8 to 10 reps. Like I said, a minute to a minute and a half of sprinting and 30 seconds to a minute of resting. Daniel says, cheers, mate, no worries, buddy. Jake again says, if you go in as a Marine, can you be promoted further than Warrant Officer second? So sometimes, I mean, this is something that you're not going to get until you're like 40, 50, 60 anyway. So like, it takes a long time to get Warrant Officer 2. With that being said, sometimes people change and get commissioned and become an officer after that. So you could, there's different ways that you can go about it. Warrant Officer 2 is kind of as far as you want to go. I mean, you're not going to get Lance Corporal or Corporal for over 4 or 5 years. So imagine how long it's going to take to WO2, you know? Some water. Luke Lamb's a big question. Sorry guys, I'm exhausted. I too have just did my 1.5 miles in the gym and my press-ups and sit-ups and pull-ups. I got a 1.5 miles in 10 minutes and 2 seconds. So roughly the same as last time. All that did confirm to me is that I'm consistent with getting it in around 10 minutes, which is good. Alright, let's go back to the questions. Luke Lamb, nice name Luke, says, how do you do your intervals? Do you do repeats in the distance like 8 times 4 at your goal? Or do you just do some sprints like 12 times or something like that? Yeah, I would do it, like if you're on a treadmill, I would aim for the speed and just be like, put it up to 16 kilometers an hour and do it for 1.5 minutes, down to 10 and rest for a minute. And then do that like 8 to 10 times. If you're on the road, one thing that I like to do is run in between lampposts. So sprint 2 lampposts, jog between one, sprint the next 2, and do that. If you can't do that, then just do landmarks, and that's actually called fartlek training, where it's not a set time. So interval training is like a minute on, a minute off, a minute on, a minute off, or a minute and a half on, 30 seconds off. It's a set time. With fartlek, it's like 2-minute sprint, a minute rest, 3-minute sprint, 30 seconds rest, 1-minute sprint. It's like kind of more mixed. So you can't help but do a bit more fartlek when you're out on the road, but just try and keep it consistent, and try and figure out what your best speed is so that you can improve and you can see that. Like you could say, okay, I did this in this time last time, so I should be able to do it a little bit better. Master Tate, how's it going, man? He says, I want to get an awesome core tattoo like you, but I'm in Signal, so I have to have a naked man on my arm. Any ideas? You could get like just army, get an army tattoo in general, like get the army logo or something. If you don't want the naked man, oh crap, he just scrolled. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Yeah, if you want to get something more generic like that, it's a good idea. Or get like an SA80 or something like that. That's a good idea. Dexter Can, how does Fizz work out once you passed out? You do it as a troop, just like you would in training. Obviously, it's a little bit more relaxed because you're not in the training anymore, but you go to the gym, you can do some weights. A lot of people in the morning will hit the gym, go to do some weights, and then usually you'll do some sort of speed match or run as a troop, or maybe a circuit or a yomp. But primarily, the thing that's different is you can go to the gym and hit the weights, which is pretty cool. Colin B, would you recommend doing weight training like deadlifts and squats, or just stick to pull-ups, sit-ups, push-ups, and running, etc.? Okay, so this is a really important one because obviously it's important for your PRMC to do push-ups, pull-ups, and sit-ups. You have to do that. It's your standard. You have to pass them. But now you have to wonder, is it okay if I do other exercises? Would it boost them other ones? So one thing I love to do is deadlifts. It's something I've always enjoyed doing. And what deadlift does for me is it makes me realize that I can lift a heavy amount of weight. I can lift that much weight. Now, obviously that's creating a huge chemical mixture of hormones rushing around your body when you're doing deadlifts, because it's a huge compound movement that uses pretty much every muscle. So it's very, very important for your fitness in general, but mentally, it kind of boosts you a little bit more because, say, like my PB on my deadlift is 365 pound. I've done that, and when I go to the gym and I'm doing pull-ups, if I can only do like 6 pull-ups because I'm exhausted that day, I'm like, well, I can deadlift 360 pounds, like I can do pull-ups, like I can do at least 7 pull-ups now. Do you know what I mean? Like you can kind of give yourself that mental boost. But as for fitness-wise, deadlifts are, I think, are very important. Squats, again, squats are something that you don't necessarily need them now when you're going for the PRMC, but if you're looking long-term for training, squats will help you when you're yomping. Some of the lads who were the best at yomping weren't the skinniest and fastest, but they could lift some heavy weight and walk. So, if you want to link long-term, maybe once a week, do a day where you do your usual stuff, but at the end, you do a bit of deadlifting, you do a bit of squatting, and you do stuff like that. I think that's a good balance. Ryan says, hello. How's it going, Ryan, mate? Zero says, do you remove what was your time when you first done your... I'm presuming you said, do you remember your 1.5 mile run, and how do you start? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm a PRMC. I got it in like 8:56. I'm pretty sure, but I'm not 100% sure. I remember going to PRMC thinking, if I can pass the run, I'm passing everything, because that's the most important to me. The running is the most important, because that was the one that I always struggled on. So I said to myself, I can pass the mile and a half, I can pass everything. I got it in like 8:56, I think. I think it was around there anyway. Just a quick check. I want to make sure the stream's going well. Is the sound quality good and all that lot? Just someone give me a quick message and let me know how I sound. I know the video is a little jumpy, but I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about the sound quality so you can hear my answers. So do let me know. Where was I? Ryan says, can you become a commissioned officer if you join as a rating? So you mean if you just join as a normal Royal Marine? There's been quite a few cases I've seen where when someone is doing so good in training and they kind of just a notch above the rest, the officer of your troop will sometimes be like, do you want to transfer to an officer course? But it's a very, very rare thing, and you have to be a shining example to do something like that. So if you do want to do something like that, I really do want to, be one of the best, then you really have to put the work in, mate. It's something you have to be really good at, and sometimes it's kind of something that people are just natural at doing. So Samwell Guy says, when you pass and become a Royal Marine Commando, do you typically go straight into operation combat? Sometimes, depends what's going on. I remember a few of my mates from my troop went to 4-2 who were on operations and they went straight out. Or 40, I can't really remember. But I got sent to 4-5 who were doing pre-deployment training. So we did that for 6 months and then went on our way. The vegan MGTOW says, I'm going into potential officer course. Do you know much about this course? What they don't tell you on the website? I don't know much about this course. I do know that the fitness is a little bit harder, and they do more interviews and kind of like presentations and discussions. I know that's key. Keeping your vocabulary and the way you hold yourself is a very important aspect of the PO course. So if I was you, I would make sure you're talking clearly, you have a good kind of, you hold yourself well, and you're good at debating, you're good at talking, and don't not be a grey man, if that makes sense, but don't also be that person that's always gobbing off. Yeah, you want to be very professional. That's one thing that I would emphasize the most, is you've got to be very professional. And when it comes to the fitness, that shouldn't even be an issue. The fitness, you should have that down to a T, Dexter Can says, I've been through the whole packing and specialization process. What's your best advice, having probably known people working in a different specialization? Having been through the whole picking and specialization process, what's the best advice? Okay, so when it comes to specializations, I really wouldn't worry about that just now. I would get into the Marines and start your general duties, and then you've got to do at least 2 years before you get pinged for something. And usually what happens is you have an option of 5 things, and you prioritize what you'd like to do. So some people put like mountain leader number 1, and then I don't know, and they'll just put in the order of what they want, being like from number 1 being best to 5 being I wouldn't mind doing it, but I'd rather not, type of thing. But if you don't pick something, then you will get pinged. When I put my chit in, I got pinged as a driver, because it was like 1 last year, and I didn't mind because I only had a year left. It meant I can just be a driver, and it was a simple task. But some people, like my friend went ML, mountain leader, my other friend went snipes. So there's all these different things you can do, and you can get them done. You can get them done. And if your bosses like you, they'll try and push you to get on them courses. So that's another important thing. The vegan MGTOW again says, when doing the pull-ups, can you jump off the bar to shake your arms off before going again, or do you need to complete them in one set? I'm pretty sure you need to complete them in one set. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm like very confident it's all in one set. John Fisher, good luck to all heading off to Limpston in the near future. Go for it. Yeah, I agree, John. Good luck to everyone who's thinking of doing it, because it's a hard task. All right, so people are saying it sounds good. Okay, that's really important. I want to make sure that's key, that they actually sound good doing this. Scott Banks, what would you do day to day at a commando unit when you're not on operations? So it really depends. Obviously, you'll wake up and you fall in and check orders with the rest of your unit. And then sometimes there'll be some sort of tasks that you need to do. So I'm talking like you'll do some CQB training, or you'll do some sort of training or weapon cleaning or something to keep your skills up to task, followed by either exercise or vice versa. You'll exercise and then do your specialization stuff. You'll have lunch, and then if there's not much else for you to do, you can either work out again, or you can just relax and get around your kit and then just chill out with the lads. Sometimes you'll have more stuff to do, like sometimes you'll be doing a weekend of CQB training again, or something like that. There'll always be something that's like in the works, and you're always kind of preparing for that next step. So say that they know that they're going to Afghan in a year, they're going to be slowly preparing for that stuff, and you're talking like weapon drills and all that stuff, and live firing, and just keeping your skills up to task is like what you'll be doing. Ryan says, if you get specialized in for, say, military intelligence, which I want to join, if you say a few years after that I want to move to, for instance, mountain leaders, that's possible. Yeah, it's totally possible. Some people stay, so if someone gets pinged, usually they'll do that specialization for a year or two and then transfer over to something else, and that's definitely possible. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that at all. It's something you can definitely do. And do you normally get your first pick? Honestly, it really depends. Getting your first pick, it depends on one, if the demand's there, two, on yourself, if you've made a good impression, and three, luck. So it's a bit of everything that you kind of just need to bear in mind, and kind of need to. It's a gamble, mate. And if you put it down on the paper, that's most important. That's all you can do. You can ask your boss and just be like, look, I really, really want to go as an ML, or I really want to do intelligence or signals or driver or motors or anything like that, and they can try and put in a good word for you if they like you. Jake Barrett says, what is the structure of the average week in training? Is it heavy fizz every day and little rest? Yeah, it's very heavy fizz. You'll usually kind of a more chill day. You'll be exercise in the morning, followed by lectures until lunchtime, and then you'll get food within half an hour, and then you're back to either a lecture or more exercise, and then you got to get around your kit after that, and weapon drills and lectures, and that's why they call you nods, because you're always falling asleep because you're tired and you're in lectures, and yeah, so it really depends, mate, because the start of training is completely different to the end of training when it comes to your downtime and your lectures and what your lectures are about. So it really does depend, man, and it's structured very, very well. Let's have a look here. Where were we? When not on operations, how often can you go home? Most weekends, pretty much every weekend, you'll be going home if you want. People carpool. So I have friends who I remember lived in Manchester like me, so we'd all get in a car and then drive to Manchester and meet at the Trafford Centre and say, okay, it's Friday now, I'll meet you here Sunday at silly o'clock, and as long as you're there for Monday in the morning, then they're not too worried. But yeah, it's a lot more relaxed when it comes to stuff like that. Obviously, spending time with the family is a very, very important thing when you're in the military. So they try. Obviously, if they turn around and say we're going to go and exercise this weekend, there's nothing you can do about it. But as for a general weekend, then usually you get to go home. Yeah, so that's important. How many years would you say you need to train for? I'd say at least a year. I train for at least a year. I'm doing this getting fit for the Royal Marines to pass PRMC. But passing PRMC is not being able to pass training. So I would be doing yomping and all that stuff to kind of, for the long term, if you're going to go into training, I would do the deadlifts and the squats and the yomping and all that, because that's important as well. Ryan again, also if you specialise in military intelligence to work with the Army and the RAF, or are you attached to a Marine group? It depends. Obviously, we all work together, but the Royal Marines are also very sustainable and self-sustainable, and you usually work more with the Navy, especially with intelligence and stuff like that. So I remember on ship, there was a few lads who were working with the intelligence groups with the RAF, the Navy, and the US military. Yeah. Dexter Khan. What's the one area of fitness you underestimated when doing recruit training? Ooh, good question. I would say speed marching, because it's not a yomp, but it's also not a run. You're doing 10-minute miles of walking the uphills and running the flats and downhills, but you've got weight on. And I think that was the biggest shock to my system, because I wasn't too bad at yomping, even though I wasn't the best. I was average at yomping. Because for me, I've always been a little bit bigger, a little bit bulkier, so I could put the weight on my back and just walk. But the speed march was a mix of both, and that's something that's hard to kind of prepare for, unless you put weight on your back and just run. Remember, you've got a rifle in your hand as well, so that's also another thing. So I think speed marches were the biggest one. The other one was rope climbing as well, I think. Not so much when you're in the gym, even though you get tendonitis in your forearms, which is hard. When you're on bottom field and the rope's a lot thicker than in the gym, it's wet, you've got weight on your back, you're wearing boots, that's a whole different ball game, and that's something that you can't prepare for until you go into training. So pull-ups is key for when it comes to stuff like that. Have you ever? Oh, it just moved again. Have you ever been in a firefight or dangerous situation in the RM? If so, what was it like? I was on operations doing anti-piracy, but there wasn't as much action as you would think. That's all I'll pretty much say about that, to be honest with you. I don't really want to get too far into all that stuff. I want to try and keep these conversations about training, because when it comes to operations, at the end of the day, they're all different, and also I want to be respectful of the Marines and not talk about stuff I'm not supposed to. So we'll just talk about training for now. Scott Banks says, do you get shown how to run properly in boots when it started training? Any advice given on how to reduce the risk of injury? Yeah, there is advice given on the risk of injury, especially when it comes to feet, and keeping them blister free and keeping them kind of healthy. Obviously, if you're running boots all the time, you're going to get blisters, you're going to get hot spots, and keeping your feet prepped and ready for the next day is so important, and you'll have lectures on that. When it comes to running in boots, you'll put your boots on and you'll run like a small 3-mile speed march to start with, just to break them in, and then you'll kind of go from there. But breaking your boots in is key. Wearing them as much as possible, polishing them, getting them loose, is really loose and kind of molded to your feet, is really important. Callum B, a bit off topic, but where do you think the Royal Marines would stand in a large future war? I think that would be a key element, because the same along with the paras is they're so specialised in fitness and determination that they can kind of be one of the key elements that could change a war. I honestly think that. And even though there isn't many of them, which is a shame, that also means that they can be more focused on the few individuals that we do have. And it's not special forces, but I think it's definitely in between the normal military and special forces. You can tell they're obviously a notch above the Army and the Navy and the RAF. It's obvious. Without sounding big-headed, they are a little bit of a notch above them, and that's why people like to join and like to get a Green Beret. With that being said, they're not as good as SAS or a Special Boat Service. So, it's like that happy medium where there's obviously a lot less SF than there is Marines, and there's a lot less Marines than there is Army. So it's prioritising how difficult something is needed. If something that's really hard but can use only 1,000 people, then the Marines are perfect, Ryan, you said you can go home most weekends. I live in Scotland. Do you still get home even though you live miles away? Yeah. I remember when I was at 4-5 Commando, and I would travel down to Manchester all the time, which is a good 4 or 5 hour drive. And again, I was based down south. I'd go up to Manchester. Sometimes I go up to Scotland to meet friends, so you can get away with driving that far. It's just a case of, do you want to drive that far for just a weekend, That's up to you. If you live in Scotland, then if you go to 4-5, then you won't have to drive far. Did I miss any? Where are we? The MCG, I don't know what that is, mate. Currently going through the application process for the Army. I'd like to start running and tabbing with weight on my back. Should I be using boots or running shoes be sufficient? Have you got your boots? I know when you pass the PRMC in the Marines, you get your boots and you can run in them. I'm not sure about the Army though. And if you're running boots, they might turn around and say, actually, I want you to wear these boots. And in that case, you've just broken some boots for no reason. So I'm not too sure about that, mate, if I'm honest with you. Zero says, running shoes first just to get the idea of it and be like the first time. Yeah, I'm guessing he's just answering your question. Yeah, I'm presuming so. Barker Boy BG1508 says, I lost 7.5 stone in 6 months and my training is going really well. Good structure, really motivated, but to the back end of the year, I'm losing motivation. What keeps you going? Reading books about the Royal Marines, and remember, it's inspiration, not motivation. So inspiration is what comes from inside. Motivation is what comes to you from the outside. Why do you want your Green Beret is very important. Why have you started this? Think of the end goal. When you wake up in the morning, have 5-10 minutes of meditation and picture yourself where you want to be. And that sometimes sets your day out a little bit more positive and a little bit more fuel towards them goals. So that's what I would say. Max Platinum says, are the boots you are given in training the same ones you'll have once you pass out and get deployed? Most of the time, yes. But your boots will also fall apart. Sometimes I had a pair of boots that fell apart in training, and I got another pair of boots in training. With that being said, a lot of people go outside and go into a unit and actually buy boots from outside sources. So they'll get kind of nicer, fancier running boots or better yomping boots from outside sources that they'll pay their own money for. So, and they'll do that for everything, for like Bergens and Under Armour and different hats and stuff like that. So you'll notice that stuff kind of happening. How do you get picked for special boat service? You don't get picked for it. You can apply for it, but that's a deep question that I won't get into on this because I want to respect the people that have done that. Count B, being left-handed, what would the weapon be like? Would you fire right-handed? You would fire in the same side as what you. It's like because the SAAT is not changeable between left and right-handed. So you would fire in your right hand side. With that being said, I don't think it makes a big difference being left or right handed when it comes to shooting. So I think you'd be fine. Yeah. I think the only thing, I mean, I don't remember. I just don't remember people shooting on the other side, if I'm honest with you. And I would never have done it. If I was left-handed, I would have shot the same side. So, because if you're shooting it on the left-hand side of you, you're just going to have brass hitting your face constantly, which will suck. So I would highly recommend just doing it on your right-hand side. You alright, mate? Says, hi, mate. In preparation of training, did you suffer an injury? If so, how did you get through it physically and mentally? Thanks. I suffered 2 injuries. I went into Hunter because I fell off the top of the rope on bottom field and did a lot of damage to my ankle. And then when I was just about to get out of Hunter, I pulled a muscle, got like a hernia in my groin, and had to start Hunter all over again. And I remember being in bits about it, but then just take one day at a time, mate, and you just get through it. And you just have to remember why you're there at the end of the day. One foot in front of the other, just like a yomp, and you kind of don't have to, like, the more you ponder about, I've got an injury, it's going to take for months, the more you're going to become depressed. The more you just be like, okay, this has happened, I've accepted it, I'm just going to use this time to concentrate on my admin, concentrate on my core knowledge. I think that is, like, making the best of a crap situation is really important. I remember I made sure that I learned how to prep my kit even better, I learned how to my core knowledge better, and acronyms and all that lot, and a lot of people in Hunter kind of stick to that more than anything. So Ryan again says, wait, shit, where was I? And I don't currently have a driving license. I just have PRNC to go. Should I get my license now? Is it possible to get it in there? Yeah, get it in the Marines. You'll get it all done for free. That's what I did. I didn't have a driving license either. I just jumped in friends' cars when we were going home and stuff. So you'll be fine without a license. A lot of people go in without a license. William Bray, I'm 16 and I want to go for the POC. At 18, how do I prepare for the theory side, and should I incorporate weights into my fitness schedule? I would make sure that your fitness is more than on point if you're going to be going in as an officer. That shouldn't even be a thing to worry about. The preparation for the theory side is something I don't really have a lot of knowledge on. I just know that they do a lot of talks and a lot of debate and a lot of core knowledge and all that lot. So honestly, I can't give you too much advice on that. Because I haven't done it myself, and I wouldn't give advice on something I haven't done. So, I would just make sure your core knowledge, your current affairs, all that lot is on point, and that you know exactly what you're talking about. Some more guy says, if you get sick during training, what happens? You can go to medbay. Sometimes you get back trooped. It really depends on how sick you get, to be honest. If you're just missing a couple of days, sometimes it's okay and you can get straight back into it. But if you're missing any more than that, usually you get back trooped. Ryan says, can you buy your own equipment? So, for instance, plate carrier, can you buy your own, or do you need permission prior to buying your own trousers or something? Yeah, I mean, when it comes to uniform, you have to pretty much wear the stuff that you're given, especially in training. It's very rare you'll be able to buy your own stuff in training unless it's like gloves or a hat for an exercise. But a lot of people kind of in the summer they'll wear the normal 95 trousers along with a t-shirt, a raw wearing t-shirt. But yeah, it really depends on what you're gonna buy. A plate carrier. You mean are you talking like body armor and stuff. I mean, a lot of people do, but you kind of want to stick to the Pusser's gear, the Offspray and all that lot, because it's the reason they have it is because most of the time it is the best, you know. So, Ethan, I'm 15 and I have applied. How much should I train, bro? And is there normally other 16-year-olds doing on the course? Train every day, maybe one day of rest a week. You know, just train as much as you can. And there is a lot of 16-year-olds that join as well, so don't worry about it. I was 16 when I went in, so don't worry about it. Yeah, I would just train as much as you possibly can. That's important. Oh, wow, I got to the end of the questions. How is everyone doing? Is the stream still good? Is the sound still good? Is there any problems with that? Let me know how it is. I'm actually only going to do 5 more minutes until 1:45, just because I've got a lot to do today. Cheers, Zero, appreciate it. So I've been working a lot on this second channel recently. I'm going to be doing like a gaming channel, kind of like a pop culture geek channel because obviously I love books and TV shows and movies and video games, and they're like my hobbies. So I'm really thinking of opening this new channel. It's going to be called Original Human Geek. The channel is live, but it's not like it hasn't got anything on apart from like one video because I'm still doing all the artwork for it and stuff. So that's going to be really fun. I'm thinking of doing a Let's Play of the Call of Duty World War II campaign. So it'll be kind of like Royal Marine plays Call of Duty World War II campaign. Do you all think that's a good idea? Maybe I'll also play another game at the same time. Maybe like the Star Wars game. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so that's really important. So let me know what you think about that. Do you think the second channel is a good idea? Do you think I should incorporate movies and TV shows and books and video games into this new channel? What would you like to see in it? I think that's something that it'll all be PlayStation until I can afford to get a decent gaming computer or an Xbox. I did have an Xbox, but I traded it in for my Nintendo Switch because it's awesome and Zelda is the best game ever. Zero Supremacy says, is it better to join when you're 16 because you can heal better, or is it better to join when you're 18 with more training? Honestly, I would say it's better to join when you're a little bit older. 16, you're still growing. I wasn't very mature when I went in, but you know, if you want to join at 16, that's completely fine. But for me, yeah, I would say 18, just so you know yourself a little bit better. Ryan says you can get the World War II Commando uniform for the character along with the Green Beret. I know, can you actually get the Green Beret though online? Because I was trying to look for it. I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty Online. I'm really, really enjoying that. So if you want to see that, let me know. Max Platinum, are you going to watch the new Star Wars? I've actually already got tickets for midnight tomorrow night to watch the new Star Wars film. I am in Barcelona, so I have to watch it with these stupid Spanish subtitles underneath. So I'm really annoyed. But I've been to the cinemas and watched films. Like I watched the Injustice League and the Justice League and is it Coco? I want to watch them at the cinemas, and I kind of just ignore the subtitles after a little bit, so that's all right. Callum, are the rope tests hard? Do you train for it, and how, if so? Yeah, the ropes are really hard, mate. The ropes are really, really hard. I mean, it's something you can't really prepare for, and anything I would... One thing that I would say would really help is doing a lot of... V-sits and kind of leg raises. So hold on to a pull-up bar and do like leg raises, because you're going to be doing a lot of leg raises on your pull-ups, on your ropes. And then maybe get a rope and wrap it around a pull-up bar and do pull-ups with it. I think that would help a lot. Ryan says you can get it in supply drops. Okay, I'm going to look out for that. Rey is going to become a Grey Jedi. Grey Jedi is not canon, so I don't think she's going to become a Grey Jedi. I think she's going to become something else. It's very hard to get though. How ironic. Get a Commando uniform and get the Power Beret. Yeah, I saw the Power Beret. That's like a new update in it. That's kind of funny. But yeah, do you think this is a good idea, doing the whole Call of Duty, or doing like I'd like to do like trailer react videos as well. So like when the new trailers come out, react to them, and for films and games and everything and stuff like that. And also reviewing books. I think books are very kind of brushed across these days, and there's some fantastic books that are really, really good. What was your diet when you were overweight? I just eat a lot of shit. I like a lot of chocolate and a lot of biscuits, a typical English diet. And then I changed it and I just had more cleaner foods. Right now I'm on a vegan diet, and honestly, a whole foods plant-based diet is the best diet I have ever been on. Like, I'm losing body fat and gaining muscle quicker than I ever have before on this diet. So I think that is something that you should definitely look out for. Definitely do a little bit of research on, because I think it's definitely the future. You can see a lot of sports athletes getting into a whole foods plant-based diet as well. So it's kind of impressive. So yeah, I would definitely recommend looking into that if you haven't. All right, what time? We have a couple more minutes, and then I'm gonna get going. Yeah, so excited for Star Wars tomorrow, guys. I can't even emphasize enough. What would you do diet advice for training? What would you do diet advice for training? Yeah, I mean, I've done that last video about getting fit the Marines on my diet. I honestly would say a plant-based diet would be best. 100%. I really do. It's the one that I've seen most benefits from. You just got to make sure you're getting enough calories. Ryan, the old army videos, you should review the old army videos and call out the monks that there were in a lot of the Hmong moments. You could do that. Very funny. That would be funny. But so this military thing is only kind of one aspect of this channel. After I've done the Getting Fit for the Royal Marines and I've finished that in January, February, I'm actually going to do Getting Fit for a marathon or Getting Fit for an Ironman. And the promotion of that is going to be that I'm doing it for a charity, and I'm going to be making these videos about getting fit for that certain test and doing it for a good cause. So the military thing is only going to stick around for a little bit, and I'm going to incorporate into little things like maybe doing another Royal Marine video randomly here and there, but it's going to be very more fitness orientated rather than just Royal Marine orientated, if that makes sense. Yeah, sounds good. Do you like the Christian Bale Batman films? They're not bad. I prefer Ben Affleck. I know, don't kill me, guys. Don't unsubscribe because I like Ben Affleck more as Batman, but I just think he looks cooler. Zero Supremacy. How many people do you know in training that dropped out? Excuse me. And how do you stay motivated in Hunter? There was a lot of people that dropped out, and a lot of people that went into Hunter. You know, it's just something that you just got to keep. You just got to do one day at a time. Just one foot in front of the other, and just use the shit things that you're going through as an advantage. Like I said, if you broke your leg and you're in Hunter, concentrate on your core knowledge, your current affairs, your acronyms, your admin, all that stuff. Concentrate on all that lot and just make yourself so that when you get back into a troop, you are an expert at that stuff, you know? I currently am trying to put on weight. I'm counting protein only and calories, eating 3,501 grams per pound body weight of protein. Is that enough? Suitable. I would make sure see, this is a hard one. I've never counted calories or counted protein or counted any macros. I've always just ate what I feel is enough. And if you eat until you feel full, that's fine. But make sure that you eat and you can still do the work. Make sure that you are eating more than average if you just need to put body weight on. It's as simple as that. Eat more high protein and fatty foods like peanut butter and avocado and stuff like that. That's kind of dense in calories. Right, I raised £250 for the Roman charity when I did Tough Mudder this year. That's awesome, Ryan. That's really cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Scott Banks, why do most people drop out of training? Because they're not mentally prepared for it. Determination is the big key reason why most people drop out. Jake says, I only count because I tend to undereat. Yeah, if you undereat, then do what you think will work best for you. Do you know any way to help on avoiding shin splints? If you go for a run and your shins are hurting, go and throw them in a ice cold bath and then massage them a lot. Yeah, that's all I would say. If you need to get insoles, then get insoles, but I would massage them a lot and stick them in some ice baths. Callum says, see you later. Another great live stream. Cheers, buddy. Appreciate it. Yep, it is 1:45, so I'm leaving now. Just a last little thing. Don't forget to subscribe and like the videos and share them if you're on any forums for the Royal Marines or anything like that, and you think that other people can benefit from watching these videos. Do share them. The more I see people entertained and kind of benefit from these videos, the more I'm going to do them. The more people I see on these live streams, the more I'm going to do them. Simple as that. So yeah, if you like, subscribe, press the like button on this video and other videos, and be active in the comments, because I try and comment back to everyone, even if it's negative. I try and comment back to them. So yeah, just work hard, guys. You know, do what you need to do, and get your head down and get training. Trigger gaming here, and I'm training for the Royal Marines. I need to know, should I focus on running or obstacle courses? Focus on running, your press ups, your pull ups, and your sit ups, mate. Your core body exercises. But if you haven't been listening, I'm actually leaving now. Zero says mostly running. Like I said, be active in the comments. Get onto my Instagram, which is @luke.gillings. And I always message back, whether it takes a day or a week to reply. Usually it doesn't take a week to reply, but it sometimes takes a couple of days because I'm busy. I always reply to people. So like I said, be active, like, subscribe, and all that lot. What scores would you recommend before actually taking your PMC? Just the best you can possibly do. Find out what score is the pass, and then smash that before you can even go to PMC. Take it easy, everyone. I will see you in the next stream, maybe the next week or the week after. And thanks a lot for viewing and talking. It's actually a great pleasure doing this. So you're all great. Keep working hard, all right? Take it easy, guys. Bye.